being a YouTuber? Is it all as it seems? Want some insight into what it's like being a YouTuber full time? You ever wondered how I've done it and how you could possibly do it? How do I fund the channel? How much money do I actually make from being a YouTuber? What are the highs and lows? What does it take to run a successful channel? Ever wondered any of those questions? Well, you're in luck, because in this video, I'm going to reveal all of that. At the beginning of the video, I posed the question, is being a YouTuber all as it seems? What you see on the camera is the end product. That's the fun part, releasing it to you guys. But there is a lot of other stuff behind it. If this is the first time you have ever seen me or heard of me, I'm Ronny Dahl, and it's the same name as the channel. I've done this for 10 years, since 2013 and now 2023. If you're watching this year, of course. Otherwise it might be 2024 by the time you see this. Every YouTuber has a niche. My niche is four-wheel driving. Below that comes camping, adventure, and educational videos. Once we get this vehicle loose a little bit, we're gonna start rocking it. So we need clearance front and back. We'll get to that once we dig this out. I just want to emphasize on the educational part of the channel. That is the backbone.
The unthinkable damage that mud causes to your four-wheel drive.
That is what brings in most of the viewers and brings in most of the YouTube revenue. And speaking of revenue, I'll get to the 4 ways that I fund my channel. The 2 most rewarding things about being a YouTuber in the four-wheel drive space is the fact that we get to travel all around Australia, sometimes overseas like the USA, and we get to see and explore a lot of new places, and we get to meet a lot of interesting characters and sometimes collaborate with other YouTubers who are also out there. Harry thinks that his shopping trolley is in for a chance with these challenges we got coming up.
And he reckons his leaf-sprung billy cart can beat my coil-sprung luxury wagon.
The other really rewarding part about being a YouTuber are those educational videos, the ones that are the backbone of the channel. Now, the most rewarding part of those is not actually filming them and making them, although it's pretty fun. The best part is when you release the video, the audience feedback they give you is just phenomenal. You get that really great feeling that you've helped out so many people with some really good content so they can improve their skills, their knowledge, and help themselves get out there as well. Those are the 2 best things. But there is a whole lot of stuff in between that to get to that point, and that is what I call the YouTube grind. Not always fun, not always pleasant, but it's part of the whole process. All right, camera, do a slow push in towards me, because these are all the things that are in between the whole YouTube process. There's planning, there's filming, there's editing, there's balancing finances, there's dealing with sponsors, there's dealing with haters and all these bad comments. Mentally and also physically through the keyboard, you got to deal with that. But let's start with the planning process. If we don't plan anything as a crew and we just go filming and editing, the filming and editing process is going to take twice as long, maybe sometimes 10 times as long, because you got to pull a story together with stuff you haven't planned. Planning is a big process, and planning is not just planning to go on a trip, it's planning the shots. I don't really do scripted stuff, but you still need a storyboard. So if we're heading out to tell a story about a place, a vehicle that we're featuring, or an educational platform, we need to have a structured plan. So we know what to film, what shots to get, because there's A-roll, which you're seeing right now, and then there's B-roll is, for example, overlays on top of the A-roll to help tell the story. Like me drinking out of a cup right now, that's the B-roll, even though I wasn't actually doing it right now. Having the structure is a vital part. Even this content right now is structured, so we make sure that we cover every single thing. But when things don't go to plan, you adapt, but you always fall back to your structure. Filming and editing. This old clunker bad boy here was my first professional camera that I purchased. And I didn't purchase it just for the channel. I had side projects at the time, i.e. weddings, etc. like that, and corporate stuff. This big clunker here, I used to put on a tripod, run in front of the tripod after pressing record, if I remember to press record. Hey, Ronny Dahl here from fourwheelinginwesternaustralia.com, and I'm going to reveal to you guys, stand in front of it, convey my message to get the content. In other situations, would sometimes put this on a tripod 300 meters away from the convoy, depending on what kind of shot I wanted, drive all the way back and then drive past it. As time went on, I came up with clever other ideas. Invite passengers. The passengers would then man the tripod sometimes, but I would still have to set everything up and I'd still have to drive there because I had all the gear in the vehicle and set it up. The time and the effort you put in is immensely huge just to get an okay story with enough shots when you're doing it on your own. But when you have a whole crew, it's a lot easier, but then also it's a lot more expensive as well. As I mentioned, we are a crew of 3 people.
A couple extra cuts, so we've got a shot of coming up in the vehicle, and then we just get a few little cutaways of jumping out with the boots and stuff. It just helps the video flow anyway.
Does one need a camera like this to start a YouTube channel? The answer is no, but with a camera like that or these ones here, you can really utilize manual mode and you can open up a whole world of other possibilities with shots and lenses. And what cameras do we have? Well, we have GoPros, we got drones, we got big cameras, we got DSLRs. All that gear adds up to a big cost. To summarize the best parts of filming, you're gonna get those awesome shots and you get to look at them later. The worst parts about the filming, the grind, is when you accidentally delete some files on a card, you have overexposed or underexposed, or even worse, the audio is an absolute mess. And this happens. 2-week trip and you're constantly on the go. You do get tired, mistakes are made, we are all human after all. But when you get back and you're in the editing room, that's when you get that sinking feeling and you're gonna have to put more effort into trying to make the story work because the footage you have may be compromised. At the end of the day, you're not making a movie where people are locked into a cinema watching it, or they're dedicating themselves to a movie on TV. This is YouTube. They can easily just go on to the next video. Things pop up on the side all the time. You gotta keep them watching. And that is a challenge with YouTube, and that is the main challenge when it comes to editing. So with editing, you gotta keep things moving. You gotta really learn how to use editing software to the full potential, and you gotta have all the shots from all the filming that we've just gone out to do. So putting all that together is a massive process and is the biggest grind of YouTube. I used to do all my own editing, just me and the computer, which took up all my time during the week, which also impacted on my planning and stuff. But progressing to now, there are 3 of us. We all share editing responsibilities. So what are the biggest challenges with editing? The first one is music. Definitely music. It is the hardest thing and what you spend the most time on and what frustrates you so much, because editing already takes a long time, but trying to find that song that just fits is very difficult. And especially being an Australian YouTube channel, we want Aussie kind of style music, not country western from America, hip hop beats and stuff like that. It just doesn't work sometimes. So it's very hard to find music. I've actually gone to the length of getting an artist to make 3 specific songs for this channel, which I'm going to receive very soon. We've already heard them, they are awesome. Can't wait to use them. Challenge number 2, red rum backwards is murder. You gotta murder your darlings, and that is very hard to do. And what I mean by that is when you're editing, all those beautiful shots you just took out in the bush, you're putting them all together, or whatever it is that you want to shoot, you've got them all weaved and interlocked, but you gotta cut your darlings down. You gotta murder your darlings. Doesn't matter how good the shot is, if the shot drags on and there's not much happening apart from a beautiful scene or a shot, you're gonna lose the audience's attention. So you gotta murder your darlings. The third challenge is not seeing the forest from the trees. And what I mean by that is in your timeline, you may be so focused on the details on this part of the video or just the finite details. Until you actually export the video and watch it back, you're not going to get the overall picture and the overall tweaks you want to do to your video. The editing is the grind. Funding a YouTube channel. What started as a hobby has turned into a full-fledged business. This channel costs a lot to run. There are staff, there's gear, there's the premises, there's the vehicles, there's the fuel, there's the food, there's the contractors. There are 4 different ways of generating income. The first one is YouTube AdSense. It actually doesn't pay too bad. It's decent, but it's not enough. It's only enough to cover my cost. That's it. Then there are, of course, sponsors. Sponsors help out immensely, but you gotta be careful here. I only use stuff that I would actually use outside the channel. Or if I could recommend it to family and friends, then it ticks my box. If I can't do that, I will not work with that brand. You gotta be very careful how you balance this. If you're using stuff that you normally wouldn't use, people will eventually see through it, you will lose credibility, and you'll just be another facade. Being a YouTuber also comes with fans and crowdfunding. This brings me to the third way of funding this channel. I used to have Patreon, but now I've switched to YouTube members. YouTube members get behind the scenes and get to ask me direct questions, which I'll reply to them in video formats on YouTube channel that only the members can see. That is another way to help funding the channel. Now, these guys really appreciate the content that we're putting out, and we also really appreciate the help that they're putting in financially, assist the creation of all this content. If you want to be a member or you want to check it out, there's a join button down there. Just subscribing, simply, that is free. It costs nothing, but it helps me out because it tells the algorithm that you enjoy what's on my channel, you enjoy the content as well. And if you enjoy the content, hit that thumbs up button too. Moving on to the fourth way of funding this channel, and that's merch, which is another way the viewers help out. So how much do I make as a YouTuber? I'll put it to you this way. AdSense kind of covers me, but all the other stuff just keeps the channel running. All the profit has gone back into the business. And that is how it's made the business get to this point right now. All the gear, the staff, the vehicles, there's a lot that goes back into this channel. Comments, criticism, constructive criticism, and haters is probably the biggest mental challenge I have faced as a YouTuber. Criticism and haters really got to me. Constructive criticism, not too much, because receiving constructive criticism from various people, thinking about it, taking it on board, and then hopefully improving moving forward. And that's what I've been doing since day one of the channel. I've taken them on board, suggestions. It's also led to a whole bunch of other content and some different styles and formats of video, which has been really cool. For example, content that I shouldn't waste my time with is the prank stuff. I did a prank with pretending to be an inspector, surprising people with gifts. I had a lot of fun shooting that. People really enjoyed it. People who watched it really enjoyed it, but the algorithm didn't like it because the algorithm got confused. I'm more about educational, adventure, full driving, not pranking.
I bought the most ridiculous camping gear I could find on Wish, so you didn't have to. Please help me.
Although I do add some dry humor into my videos, which people do definitely appreciate, but doing a whole sole video just on pranks or some funny stuff doesn't work on this channel. The audience is so important to a channel, to listen to the audience, to read the comments, even the hateful comments. Haters used to really get to me, really get to me at the beginning. I always would respond back, but after a while I've learned to just repel off water the real nasty ones, because the nastier the comment, in my mind, they're just having a bad day, they're just in a shitty mood, they're just not a nice person. There's plenty of nasty people out there, but thankfully there's a lot more nice people than there are nasty people. And people tend to hide behind the keyboard. So when you picture someone picking their nose, hiding in their dark room, typing on the keyboard, unattractive people, that kind of helps you move past the haters. But the surprising fact about haters are they actually help the channel out. I've got a few dedicated haters. Having free rent in their mind is actually good for your channel. It drives up the views, it creates interest, it creates arguments, because nowadays my fans or my viewers will jump in and defend me rather than me having to defend myself. I would rather reply to people with genuine questions and comments, or clever comments, than spending my time wasting them on haters. More importantly, reply to my members on YouTube. Join button down there. Have I mentioned that already? I probably have a few times. My advice for someone who's going to start a channel, be prepared to cop the good, the bad, and the downright ugly, but keep an open mind. A question you might ask, how active do you need to be in the comment section? As active as you can. Definitely take the time to reply to at least a handful of comments and read every comment you can. It's going to give you all that constructive criticism, and feedback is important. If you don't have any feedback, you don't know where your video or style of content has landed. You got to know what the people want, what they want to know, what they want to see, and what they actually interact with as well. Because if they don't interact with content that you've been releasing time and time again, well, maybe it's time to change it up, change the style, or changed it up completely. For a period of time, I released twice a week. Releasing a video every single week is very challenging. And it's not the creative part that's challenging. I've got so many ideas. As a crew, as a team, we got so many ideas combined, but it's having the time and the resources to actually film it. And time being the hardest one. You know, weekly is very difficult. Being consistent is very vital. If you fall out of that consistency, you're going to confuse the system. You're going to confuse your viewers actually, because my viewers come back every Sunday to watch your video. If all of a sudden you're releasing on a Monday, then a Wednesday, then a Thursday, then a Friday, then a Saturday, it's all over the place, you are going to dip in views as well. So far you've heard a lot about the YouTube grind that I've experienced, our team experiences. So what does it take to really build a successful YouTube channel? Well, the first thing, you have to dedicate all your time to it. You have to live and breathe what you are doing. In my niche, the four-wheel driving, camping, adventure, and educating people, I live and breathe that. If you don't, people will see past it. You will also not enjoy doing the whole thing in the first place. That is super vital. You can't do it to chase the money. If you chase the money, people will see through it. You're not passionate about it. You gotta be passionate about it. And another thing I've learned along the way is when you're presenting to camera, you almost gotta be 120% yourself, because the camera sucks out 20% of the energy. It's like it adds on 10% of weight, but also sucks 20% of your energy. So you gotta be yourself, but with an extra 20%, because otherwise you come across very flat. And I can give you an example right now. Hi, I'm Ronny Dahl, I'm a YouTuber. Hi, I'm Ronny Dahl, I'm a YouTuber. Hey, I'm Ronny Dahl, I'm a YouTuber. There you go, there's your 80, 100%, and your 120%. I'll give you 200, but I'm not gonna do it. But it's crucial you make sure that you stay yourself. Don't try and pretend to be someone else. The old saying, fake it till you make it, that doesn't work here. People see right through that. Apart from remaining yourself and being true to yourself and your audience, you also gotta be adaptable. You also have to be able to change and willing to change the shape of the channel as you move, because if you don't stay fresh and you don't stay ahead of the game or move with the times, you're gonna fall behind and you're gonna be a flatline channel. You will experience ups and downs as you go, but that's all part of the process. The first time you reach a peak, the next time you may be reaching the bottom and it's gonna freak you out. I get on average 1 million views across the board. You know, 1 year I was up at 2 million, and then for about a 3-month period of time, I was down to like 600,000. And to me, that's a huge dip, but it came back again. So don't freak out. It's a roller coaster ride. That's just a brief insight to what it's like being a full-time YouTuber. I hope you found it interesting. And if you're looking at becoming a YouTuber yourself or wanting to start a channel, don't expect it to just blow up overnight. It's going to take a long time. And make sure that you're actually passionate about what you want to do, and make sure you're not chasing the dollars. That is my biggest advice I can give you. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.